This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this date. And on this date, March the 8th, in the year 2004, 20 years ago to today, a famous incident happened in Vancouver. Now, if you're watching this, not listening to it, if you're watching it, you know that this picture, there's seconds from disaster because something big's about to happen. So, anyway, the background to this whole Vancouver, Colorado game was a game earlier in the year, February 16th, 2004, when Steve Moore, the guy in the picture from the Avalanche, actually injured Marcus Naslund, who was the Canucks captain, by hitting him hard in the head while Naslund was reaching for the puck ahead of him. Naslund had a minor concussion and a bone chip in his elbow, knocking him out of the lineup for 3 games. There was no penalty called. The referee thought that the hit was legal, and the league did go through further review. Of course, Canucks head coach Mark Crawford criticized the no infraction call, claiming that Marawelli and his other referee needed to show respect for the league's leading scorer. Brian Burke, who was the GM of the Canucks and the former disciplinarian of the NHL, said that it was a marginal player going after a superstar with a head-hitting hit. And lots of people were vocal against Moore in the media. Todd Bertuzzi, the guy in the picture from the Vancouver Canucks, actually ended up calling him a piece of shit. His words, not mine. Canucks and Avalanche were supposed to play March the 3rd in Denver, and there was rumors of retribution on Moore. So Bettman, the commissioner, decided to stay in the game. Watch the game. The game was played to a 5-5 tie. No problems. In a rematch 5 days later, the Canucks were more active in going after Steve Moore. I guess Gary Bettman should have been there too. Regardless of this, there were 4 fights in the first period. Matt Cook had fought Steve Moore 6 minutes into the game. Colorado was already up 5-0 in the first intermission. It was like, that doesn't sound like Vancouver losing 5-0 in the first intermission. Anyway, Colin Campbell, the executive vice president, actually placed a phone call to the 2 referees saying that there might be physicality escalation because of the whole 5-0 score. So Colorado was up 8-2 by the third period. Bertuzzi followed Moore around the ice, trying to provoke him into a fight. With Moore ignoring him, Bertuzzi decided to grab Moore's jersey from behind and punch him in the back of the jaw, rendering Moore immediately unconscious. The worst part about it was that Moore had hit the ice with Bertuzzi falling on top of him, and also the fact that other players from both teams jumped on top of Moore after he fell to the ice. So basically, the weight that he had to deal with was not that good. A line brawl erupted. Everyone on the ice, minus the goalies, were fighting. The fans actually cheered at Bertuzzi's actions because, Steve Moore had it coming. But unfortunately, with Moore being unconscious, the arena fell silent, and they felt remorse, instant remorse. He was on the ice for 10 minutes before finally being removed from the playing surface on a stretcher. Colorado would score 1 more goal to win 9-2. Moore was taken to Vancouver General Hospital and transferred to Denver. He was treated for 3 fractured vertebrae in his neck, a grade 3 concussion, ligament damage in his vertebrae, stretching of the brachial nerves, and facial lacerations, and suffering from amnesia. Bertuzzi scheduled a press conference 2 days after the incident, in which he wept and apologized to Moore and his family, as well as to Burke. He basically, his teammates and fans, he basically said, "For the kids that watch this game, I'm truly sorry. I don't play the game that way, and I'm not a mean-spirited person." Which, of course, begs the question, why did he do that? I mean, if Moore didn't want to back down, Bertuzzi could have just easily punched him in the back or something. That would have been disastrous, but still, I mean, it would have been better than what he did. Bertuzzi was, of course, being ejected from the game. I mean, after all, that hit was illegal, and he was suspended indefinitely pending a ruling from Bettman. He attended a disciplinary hearing with NHL officials the morning of his apology. The following day, the league said that he would be suspended for the remainder of the Canucks season, playoffs and regular season, akin to the Rocket Richard thing. So Bertuzzi would miss 13 games of the regular season, and how many playoff games the Canucks were involved in. Canucks were fined $250,000 for that thing. So anyway, with the whole strike happening in 2005, players were going over to Europe. Bertuzzi was prevented by the IHF to do so. He would be part of a charity game and all that. So anyway, Bettman would schedule a reinstatement hearing April of 2005 and attended separately by Bertuzzi and Moore. After the NHL was going to resume for the 05-06 season, Bettman said that Bertuzzi was allowed to come back. So Bertuzzi would serve a 17-month suspension, one of the longest ever by months, but he only lost 20 games, which was the fourth longest suspension in NHL history at the time, so it could have been way worse. He forfeited more than $500,000 in salary and over $350,000 in lost endorsements. So, regardless, Bertuzzi did all that. So, anyhow, the Canucks would only play 7 playoff games as they had a Game 7 at home in the first round against the Calgary Flames, tied it with 5.8 seconds left, but then lost on a Martin Gilliland overtime winner. So, that's why Bertuzzi didn't get so many games. Bertuzzi was given a charge by the Attorney General of British Columbia June 2004 for assault causing bodily harm. He faced up to 1.5 years in prison. Bertuzzi would plead guilty to the assault charge after arranging a plea bargain. So he was requiring 80 hours of community service, 1 year of probation, and all that. And if he completed this probationary period, he didn't have a criminal record. Anyway, Steve Moore said that he was upset that he couldn't go to Vancouver and do a written impact statement. Victim impact statement to Bertuzzi. Moore would file a lawsuit against Bertuzzi February 2005. There were several members of the Canucks organization named in the lawsuit, including Brad May, who said, who's quoted saying there will be definitely a price on Moore's head after Moore's hit on Naslund. Brian Burke, Mark Crawford, and the Canucks organization as a whole. The lawsuit was thrown out in October 2005 because the Colorado judge said that it was better suited for Canadian courts because everyone was a Canadian citizen. Bertuzzi would play for Canada at the 2006 Olympics. I really didn't think that was a good idea. But anyway, Moore would file another lawsuit in the Ontario Superior Court against Bertuzzi, the Canucks, seeking $15 million in damages for loss of income. And Moore's parents also sued for $1.5 million. Anyway, yeah, there was a joint settlement offered December 2006 of $350,000. Anyway, it didn't matter. So by 2011, the suit was settled. It was undisclosed and all that. So anyway, there was an out-of-court settlement and all that by 2014 and all that. So yeah, Bertuzzi lost a lot. He only got 20 games. He could thank his lucky stars that the Canucks did get knocked out of the playoffs early, and also because of the strike. that he only had 20 games. It was fourth longest in NHL history at that time. So anyway, all that. Brian Burke, who was Anaheim's GM, actually made an offer to Steve Moore to play in the NHL for the Ducks organization. So anyway, yeah. Bertuzzi's play was not really the best situation and all of that. After the 2006 season, Bertuzzi would be traded to Florida alongside Alex Old and Brian Allen for Roberto Luongo, Lucas Krajicek, and a 6th-round pick in the 2006 NHL draft. So anyway, Bertuzzi learned a lot and all that. And it's fearful that Steve Moore could have been probably a better player than he's known as if he could just have lasted longer. That's for sure. But the fact of the matter is that Todd Bertuzzi paid the ultimate price for being a goon. And Bertuzzi was a good offensive player and all that. A lot of people said that Bertuzzi's suspension kind of ruined the Canucks' momentum in the season. I mean, the Canucks lost on the final day of the season the division, which would have given them a top 3 seed instead of the 4 seed and facing Calgary number 5. Calgary would go on to have a Cinderella run that almost got them the Stanley Cup, but lost Game 6 at home to Tampa and Game 7 on the road. Hockey violence took a massive hit and all that. No pun intended, but the fact of the matter is that Bertuzzi's actions were wrong, and I'm not taking any credibility or positivity towards this. It should have happened, if anything, it should have happened during the Vancouver, Colorado game after Naslin's injury, because then that would have been that, and then that Colorado-Vancouver game would have been peaceful. Just saying. Anyway, I'm jumped. I'm going to do.